Welcome to WagerTalk's Last Call. Kelly Stewart here. A slightly raspier voice than normal, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. Was at the Cadillac Championship yesterday and had a lot of fun down in Miami. Now I'm back home just for all of you. That's why I'm here. The Kentucky Derby probably helps with that. But also, we've got VR, we've got Teddy covers, we've got the Prez, and we've got our horse racing expert, Marco D'Angelo, up for you. At the end of the show, we're going to let these comments start to populate, let you guys kind of ease your way on in here. I'm going to bring in VR first, as I always like to do, to start the show off with just rapid fire VR. We've got NBA, MLB, NHL today. I know you said you guys already placed a bet in the NBA. Now that we're starting to wind down, yes, we have a game 7. Yes, we have games tomorrow, Monday, and we're starting some new series. How do you guys start to look at some of these matchups? Are you guys super selective? Are you purely numbers based? Kind of give our audience like a look behind your computer screen in terms of how you guys start to bet these playoffs as these teams start to be eliminated.
Right now, going into today in the NBA playoffs, 29, 13, and 1. So that's 43 bets and about 67%. All of those bets are my own stuff, all power rated related. With maybe 7, 8 of them confirmed by the groups that I give accounts to that bet NBA, because they don't do a lot with the sides and the totals. They do mostly props and live in-game. Like that's what they're betting. Like they'll bet like when that game was real high scoring, the Knicks game, like they were betting under 276, 265. Like they do a lot of that stuff where I get them off-screen accounts for that. And I talked about it in the steam room to my subscribers that when we get to the playoffs, that's where I come in. And fortunately, I trust the power ratings I work with and my own experience to originate my own stuff when it gets to the postseason because of that situation where they're not betting a lot of these sides and totals because so much of it is information-based. And this late in the season, you're not really able to gather information that's not factored into the betting line. So they're looking to take advantage of those kind of situations. For myself, I'm looking to take advantage of narratives that are forcing the books to adjust that ends up giving me value, like where they're knocking a line to where now based on my power rating, there's line value. And it's worked. It's done very well. It did well in college football, college basketball, NFL, and so far in the NBA playoffs. Now, today, here's what I can share in that game. Immediately, they steamed the under. No surprise. This series has been an under series. Only one game has gone over, and that was game 3. So they came in and went under 207 and under 206, and probably the public's going to be split on the total. Wouldn't be surprised if they're on the under as well, just because it's been that kind of series. And you're looking at Boston #1 in defense. And even on the Philadelphia side, it's defensively where they're top 15 and offensively is where they're weaker. So not surprised to see the sharps on the under. Now the side, here's where we saw different of opinion. Philadelphia came out and they took Philadelphia at 8 and then laid 7 on the Boston side. So the way this line opened, Boston opened as 7.5, 7 in some spots. It got bet up to like 8, 9 I had seen. Then it got bet down. So what I'm getting at is there's definitely a difference of opinion on the side with Boston -7, some groups liking, and then you saw some taking the dog with Philadelphia. But it seems like the public's probably on Boston too, because this line's now sitting at 8.5, and earlier it was like 7.5. So we've seen it go from 7.5, 8 to 8.5. Again, a lot of the public money still hasn't gotten to the window in this game. It's a 7:30 Eastern matchup. I have a 5%. I coming off a 5% yesterday in the NHL. It was the first 5% I fired in the NHL since 2024. So like 2 years without one. And yesterday's game set up perfectly at 6. And what happens? We ended up pushing, but stars aligned, and today's NBA lined up perfectly. And the one group that I work with came in on the same side. So I really like my NBA play. That's up at WagerTalk. In the NHL, game 1 for Philadelphia and Carolina. No surprise. Carolina is my number 1 power rated team in the NHL. And they got steamed at minus 210, 215, even 220 over Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia is good defensively, and they had the number 1 strength of schedule in all of the NHL. So it's going to see, can this Carolina offense that's number 1 in the NHL put up goals against Philadelphia? Again, Carolina is as respectable as they come. Number 1 offense, number 3 defense, number 4 strength of schedule. They're the cream of the crop. But Philadelphia coming off a series against Pittsburgh like they did, and more importantly, having that defense, Carolina's going to have to be able to score some goals. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But wise guys on Carolina in game 1. Real quickly, I'll give you some baseball. 954 Pittsburgh minus 120, 955 Milwaukee minus 115. They took 960 St. Louis plus 125 and under 9. Yankees minus 145 and 150. 966 Minnesota plus 125 and under 8.5, under 8. And give you the Mets, 979 Mets minus 115, minus 120. But I'll be in the steam room 1 p.m. Eastern, where we'll go more in detail, talk NBA, talk NHL, talk Major League Baseball. And of course, we have the Kentucky Derby, which I did send out a 3% win bet to subscribers. And as I was telling you, I bet that horse to win in place. And I'm going to tie up some exotics. We'll talk about those in the steam room. See if anybody else.
We love the exotics. We do. Those are. I've got to fund my TVG account. Like I'm waiting way too long.
Exactly.
With all the scratches.
I got to text Marco.
Yeah. Oh, Marco sent me a huge thing yesterday for the Oaks. I got a little discombobulated, we'll just call it that, at the Cadillac Championship. So I didn't get any of them in. I'm not missing out today. VR, really quickly before I let you go, the steam room today is free for everyone. Is that correct?
Everybody. Yeah, we're opening it up, Cal. I just been running so good. I want to share as much as I can. And I know my subscribers don't mind at all. And I want to be able to answer questions. That's what I love the most, the Q&A for new bettors to come in. Don't be shy. That's what I'm there for. I work for you over those, 60, 90, 120 minutes, depends how long we stay. And I'll break down any matchup you want, answer any question you have. Again, it's a good time. Stop by. There'll be a lot of actionable information. Like we'll be firing live as stuff comes in, and I'll be confirming.
That's 1 p.m. Eastern right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. VR, you are the best. Appreciate you rattling off all the sharp plays in quick fashion because we got a busy day today, guys.
Yeah,
as I've already mentioned, we have the Prez coming on, and we haven't had the Prez in a long time. And I am not good at being a producer on the back end with the extra graphics. We've also got Teddy Covers coming in after him to talk some NBA. And of course, Marco D'Angelo to answer all of your Derby questions. So we're going to get right into it. But first, I got to tell you guys what's going on over at Picks and Parlays. Again, I'm awful at this graphics thing. This is why I got to bring Louis back. Picksandparlays.net is the website that we have partnered with. Right now, you can get your first daily pick package for just $1. And if that pick loses, we're going to give you 3 flex picks and your account. And when it wins, we're going to give you just 1. See, you can't lose. Your coupon code BUCK, B-U-C-K. Get your first daily picks package for just $1 over at Picks and Parlays. We're going to bring in the Prez, and it's going to be fun. I love doing stuff with the Prez. I haven't seen him for a long time because he's so busy on the best damn betting show ever. You guys do a great job over there. You, Joe Ranieri, Art to Caesar on occasion, Brian Power. What is going on, Mr. Prezman?
Oh, Kelly, nice to be here. Nice to see you. Hope the weather is great where you are. I'm sure it is. And yeah, we are deep into both the NBA and NHL playoffs. And I mean, I follow the great Gianni, and he's so incredible, especially on air and as a sports bettor. And it's like he's doing so well, and I'm doing so well. And I'm hoping Teddy comes on next and tells you how well he's doing, because it's just been an incredible start to the playoffs from a wealth creation perspective. I mean, I am 22-9 in the NBA and NHL playoffs combined. I am 12-6 in the NBA playoffs, and I am 10-3 in the NHL playoffs. So I mean, I'm slaying it, and regretfully, that stuff drives your moods. And I say regretfully because next week I might be in a miserable mood.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully not. And yes, I would agree. Winning is everything, at least for people like the Prez and I. Prez, I want to get into these 3 NHL games. I know you've been running hot in NBA, but we got to save that for Teddy covers.
Yeah,
so we're going to talk. We got
I'm number 1 NHL expert the last 3 days, 7 days, 10 days. I'm on an 8-1 NHL run. We could save the NBA for Teddy.
Perfect. I love it. Flyers, Canes, as you probably heard, VR said that they laid a little over $2 with the Canes on the money line earlier. That is a little too steep for my liking, but I'm not sure I like Philadelphia here. They got out of a rock fight with Pittsburgh. I was betting that series, and finally I was like, I just can't. This is such a coin flip type series, and I was getting so frustrated with these two teams. Do you think Philadelphia has anything left in the tank after that?
Well, I mean, they haven't played in that, they didn't play yesterday or the day before. April 29th was their last game, a 1-0 overtime win against Pittsburgh. And it's interesting, Kelly, because it's one of those rest versus rust situations. You've got Carolina, who has not played since April 25th, and that is a long time ago. So is it going to hurt Carolina more not playing in the last 6-7 days? Or is it going to hurt Philadelphia more coming in after that huge win? Well, I don't think it affects Philadelphia because I do think they've had a nice enough gap. Had they have played a game 7 and then 2 days later been in this position, I would be all over a team like Carolina here, but Philadelphia's had enough gap. So I don't think the intensity of that last series is going to affect them at all. With that said, I still think Carolina is the bet here, and I would look to take them in regulation, Kel. I understand the money line bets, and it makes sense given how many games go to overtime in the playoffs. But in the first round, Carolina and Ottawa only played 1 overtime game. Granted, they only played 4 games in total, but Philadelphia and Pittsburgh also only played 1 playoff game. So take out the Montreal Tampa Bay series, and it hasn't been as many overtimes as most people would think. You're getting Carolina here at minus 130 in regulation, and this Carolina team has beat Philadelphia 8 of the last 9 games head-to-head. And there is something to that. Teams do match up differently against teams. If we have a chance to talk about the series prices, we could speak about how how Minnesota matches up against Colorado. Some teams match up better against other teams. And the thing about Philadelphia and Carolina is Philadelphia is sort of built in the same model as Carolina. This is a team that wants to win 2-1, 3-2 hockey games. This is a team that lacks scoring and is really good defensively and has been getting good goaltending. So when I look at these two teams and I see they are built the same. So which one is better in the same build? And that's Carolina in every single position. Their coaching better, more experienced. Their defense probably one of the best D units in the league. Their goaltending, although they had trouble during the year, played outstanding, Freddie Anderson, in the last round. And their forwards are as deep as it gets, all 4 lines. So from a Philadelphia-Carolina matchup, I think this series matches up beautifully for Carolina. With all that said, I love the under in this game as well. Kelly, you see, both these teams want to play to the under. Ottawa put up 5 goals in 4 games in the series against Philadelphia. And this Philadelphia team kept Pittsburgh to 2-0, 2-4, 3-0. Only 2 games went over 2 goals in the 6 against Pittsburgh. 5.5 total. I think Philadelphia team total under. I think the game under, and I think Carolina in regulation. There's 3 bets for you, and I like all 3 of those bets.
Wow, I like that. Giving lots of in-depth information about the Carolina series right now. That is the Prez. We love Prez. Prez, you know what I don't love? You mentioned that Canadians Lightning series, Game 7. Everybody else loves Game 7. I wanted it over last night.
Yeah, I understand.
Now I don't feel great. Tampa Bay, a sizable favorite at home versus the Canadians. This one is tomorrow, but give me a quick synopsis on if you think the Lightning are going to sneak past the Canadians now here at home.
I'll tell you, Kel, I don't know. Aren't you a Tampa Bay fan? I mean, I think.
No,
so you're not, because I was like, why did you want it over?
Because I had a series bet on the Canadians, and I bet the Canadians last night. But here's the interesting thing. I grew up being a fan of all these Chicago teams, okay? So then I started getting into hockey, went to the United Center, fell in love with the Blackhawks.
Yep.
How could you not? And then they turn around every other year and win a Stanley Cup and haven't done so since 2015. So that being said, Vegas gets a hockey team, VGK. How fun. Was great to go to. Loved going to VGK games. Moved down to Tampa. Lightning win back-to-back. Loved it. Started going to Florida Panthers games. They win back-to-back. Having a great time here in Florida. But I have no love lost. My allegiance is towards my money. I'm like you and Carm. Like, we can say I'm a fan of the Blackhawks. They're god-awful, Prez. So, no, I'm not a Lightning fan, but there were a lot of Lightning people not happy with me cheering against the Lightning last night in that bar in Miami.
Well, I mean, and I'm with you because, you know, the Toronto Raptors are in a big series against Cleveland. Game 6 last night in Toronto, a Cleveland team that doesn't play well on the road. And yet, my stupidity, I bet Cleveland. So here I am at a friend's house watching Game 6 with like 19, you know, Toronto Raptor lunatics head to toe in gear. And I'm like screaming and yelling for the Cavs. And then it was like the Cavs were down by 2 with seconds to go. And I'm like, I can deal with the Raptors winning. I live in Toronto. I can deal with overtime. We get a shot at the Cavs. What I can't deal with is a 3-point shot here, and the Cavs escape with a 1-point win. And yes, luckily that didn't happen. But I'm with you.
You got very lucky in that game. Overtime was not fun. I had the plus money with the Raptors.
So I think the plus money with the Raptors, as opposed to my bet, was the right bet. In regards to Montreal and Tampa Bay, Kel, look, I think the play here is on the under as well. Do I think Tampa Bay will get it done? It's really tough to bet a minus 150 on a team that has won 1 or 2 home games in 4 years of playoffs. I mean, that's how bad Tampa Bay's home ice has been. Now, are they going to get Victor Hedman back? That's a big deal. So we still have to see about that. But I think it's just too juicy for the Tampa Bay home team. And I don't want to bet Montreal here. I, too, like you, are holding a Montreal series price. I gave that out on the best betting show ever with Joe and Art. So we're holding the same ticket. But I can't find myself betting Montreal in this spot. Just too many emotionally down losses for them in this series. They should have won last night. They should have won in game 5. So, yeah, I think the under is the play. Don't overthink this. These guys are playing to the under almost every night, and I think we're going to get unbelievable goaltending. Plus, the shot counts are down for both of these teams, Kel. So it's not like these games should go over, but they're getting, you know, goalies standing on their heads. They're not getting 40 shots and 1 goal.
1-0 games are not supposed to be exciting. That's why I don't like soccer. That game last night was very, very exciting for being a 1-0 game. Let's talk about the Wild headed to Denver. The Wild off a crazy series themselves versus the Stars. I know a lot of people, because I'm a Broncos fan, thought I was an Avs fan there for a while. Never been to an Avs game. Can't say that I could care less about this Colorado Avalanche team. But this Minnesota Wild team seems really fun. And we got the comment section saying they like the Wild here. Talk to me about this Wild Avs series. And then we got to get you out of here because we got to talk to your former co-host, Teddy Covers, about some NBA.
And current best pal. I love Teddy. He's the best. And I know he'll come on here and say bad things about me. That's his base, you know. That's where that's how he defines himself, but I love Teddy covers. I just want everyone to know that for the record. Kel, look, it's been Colorado or nothing for me since the beginning of the year. This Colorado team is historically good. But now, after Minnesota has picked up, Quinn Hughes, which rivals Cale Makar, I think this Minnesota team can get it done. Plus 200 against Colorado. And although I clearly think Colorado is the better team, they are favored 2-1 here. I think this Minnesota team is really, really live. Firstly, I think they're playing very loose. I don't want to say they're playing with house money, so to speak, because this is a team that wants to win the Stanley Cup, and this is a team that expected to get through the first round. But, man, they beat a tough Dallas team in the first round. They look loose. They look like they're flying on the ice. And what I like about them is they have a lot of depth. Where you look at Colorado, they're a team that closely more resembles an Edmonton, where they're super top heavy. Now, their top is the best top in the league by far. They got the best defensive pair in hockey. They got the best first line in hockey. They got a top 10 second line in hockey. But then when you get to their third and fourth line, things are going to get a little bit better for Minnesota. Plus, when you look at Minnesota, I mean, Matt Boldy is becoming a superstar in front of our eyes. They got Kaprizov. They got Eriksson Ek. This team is loaded. Zuccarello is back. This team is loaded with talent. And what I love is that they are young. They don't know better. And I think they can hold their own with Colorado. I would look to take Minnesota in the series, hope they get one of two in Colorado, and then maybe look to come back on Colorado. But I wouldn't be surprised if this series is much tighter than most people think. And I'm cheering for Minnesota. I don't know why. I like you. I got no skin in the game, but they are just so fun to watch.
They really are. And I would call myself a casual hockey fan, Prez. Like, if the game's on at the bar, maybe I'm flipping through and there's not anything I want to watch on TV. It's the playoffs. It's a game 7. I've got money on it, right? Like, I'm going to watch. Those are the scenarios where I'm going to watch hockey. And just watching this Wild team in that Star series, you're right. They are really fun. And maybe there is worth a little sprinkle, as our friend VR likes to say, on that series price. Prez, I got to get you out of here.
Yep.
Because we got lots of stuff to talk about still. NBA with Teddy covers. We got the Kentucky Derby, of course, with Marco D'Angelo coming up at the bottom of the hour. Prez, let everybody know about the best damn betting show ever. You, Joe Ranieri, Art DeCesar, and sometimes Brian Power.
Yeah. So firstly, we gave out Chief Wallaby on the best betting show ever about 2 weeks ago. They I don't know if Chief Wallaby is non-binary, so I don't know if it's a they, a he, a her. Please excuse me. I'm guessing based on the term chief that it's a he. But whatever it is, they, he, she, the horse, it was 16-1. Now it's like 6-1. So we missed the boat on Chief Wallaby. But for the record, I think that's the greatest name of a horse in history of the world. We also like Renegade in that race. We did a deep dive on that. And basically, I got one NBA play up tonight. It's a team total. I'm on a 15-2 run in the NBA in totals. I'm 12-6 in the NBA playoffs. I also have one NHL play up tonight as well, and we know how good I'm doing in that. As for the best betting show ever, every Monday, Brian Power, myself, and Joe Ranieri. Last week, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Art DeCesar is joining us. We are releasing, this is big news, Kelly. We are releasing the One Woman Guy song on Tuesday. We call Art DeCesar the One Woman Guy because he's very fickle about other women complimenting him in the chat room. He's like, stop, I'm a one-woman guy. So we have written a song. AI has helped. We will be releasing that song on Tuesday. So please check out the One Woman Guy release on Tuesday on the best betting show ever.
That gives you guys something to look forward to prior to NBA and NHL. Prez, you're the best. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Lots of love.
Yes. Good luck on all your wagers today, guys. We got Teddy Covers coming in here in a minute, and I'm still really bad at doing this production side of things. But first, I got to tell you guys about, that's right, picks and parlays. We have partnered with them, about 9 months ago now. But right now, if you're new to picks and parlays, get your first daily picks package for just $1 using coupon code BUCK. And if it loses, we're going to give you back flex picks in your account. And if it wins, we're still going to give you flex picks in your account. Let's get back to talking some NBA. Teddy Covers coming in hot. Thank you for being patient, Teddy. We know Prez is a little long-winded, but I just let him go. You worked with him for like 5 years, 6 years on WagerTalk. Sometimes you just got to let the guy go, and you're just like, fine. I'll just sit back and look at the odds logic screen and just wait.
I could never. I mean, all I wanted the whole time he was talking, all I wanted to do was rip him about this and rip him about that. And no, you didn't. And what's wrong with your lighting? And I just have fun. Prez is like, oh, I love Teddy Covers. Ask Prez how since we stopped working together every day. Ask him how many times he's called me in like a year and a half, and that'll tell you how much he loves me.
Oh boy!
Take the under.
Oh boy! All right. Well, let's talk about these unders. When you came on 2 weeks ago, you and I talked about the NBA playoffs and what we should be looking for in these first series. Now, as these second rounds of series are starting, anything from a totals perspective that we need to keep an eye on, anything from a betting perspective, we need to keep an eye on.
Second round of the series starting. Kelly, we have 3 game 7s in the next 24 hours. Nobody's looking about game in the second round. This is what we're waiting for, is these 3 game 7s. You wait all year for this stuff. So
yeah, but I'm going to say this. One of them should be a game 7, Cavs Raptors. What is Boston doing? Boston was a heavy series favorite. I am floored that they have let the Sixers hang around. So let's get into that game first, because it's today. And I'm like, Boston, what are you doing?
So let's talk about these two teams. All right. Again, we talked a lot in Orlando and Detroit about how prior to this season, the Magic were aligned as a 51-win team and the Pistons were aligned as a 43-win team or whatever it was. I mean, there was a significant disparity, or maybe it was a 47-win team, that Orlando was aligned as the better of the two teams coming into the season. Therefore, when we look at how the markets priced the Magic and the respect that the Magic got in the marketplace and some of the success that Orlando had in the series, you have to say, all right, well, some of that is warranted. All right, this isn't just something coming out of left field. The NBA regular season is about how bettors can make money, and the NBA playoffs is about which teams are actually good. So when you talk about a team like Philadelphia, which injury riddled all season, all right, but the pieces were there for the 76ers to contend going into the season. Philadelphia had the higher season win total than Boston. And we say that, all right, well, obviously the Celtics have overachieved all year. But the Celtics overachieved all year. I mean, this is a team that, and then they got Tatum back and won a bunch of games. And it was like, oh, Boston's fine. Boston's going to kill everyone. It's the postseason. But all of their weaknesses got papered over. All right. Boston lives and dies by the three-point shot. When they face an elite defensive team on the perimeter, the three-point shots haven't fallen for the Celtics. When you talk about who's going to win the battle in the paint, you have Embiid on one side and Kate on the other. It's no matchup. It's advantage Philadelphia. When you talk about a guy like Paul George, who has had significant postseason success, you say, all right, he can match up against anyone for the Celtics. And you say, yeah, this is more than Philly playing a little bit above their head. This is Philly with a puncher's chance, even in game 7. And when we look at what happened in the last 2 games, all right, where Boston had the chance to clinch, couldn't do it at home, had the chance to clinch, couldn't do it in Philadelphia, there's nothing fraudulent about what the Sixers have done in these last 2 games. They've been the significantly better team, really, on both sides of the basketball. So if you're laying 8.5 with the Celtics right now, you're counting on a Boston team that overachieved all regular season to play at a level they haven't played in the last couple of games in game 7. So I could really only look at Philly plus. And when you talk about game 7s, all I want is unders. And the markets are telling me, don't bet this under.
Don't bet the unders.
The start money's come on the over for this game for what it's worth.
All right. Worth noting. I would agree with Teddy on that one. I think the Celtics are getting a little too much love We'll see if we can't get a 9, Teddy. I'm watching the Odds Logic screen, oddslogic.com/Kelly in Vegas in another series that I did not think would go to game 7. But here we are, Orlando, Detroit. But boy, I mentioned how upsetting the Canadians were last night, losing for me in that in hockey. I was not watching the Magic game. It was not on the TV. We're at dinner. I'm hitting refresh. I see it's halftime, up double digits, put my phone away. We're driving home. My buddy Ben's in the back seat. I'm like, Ben, can I get a score update? It's like 11 p.m. And he's like, yeah, the Magic stayed in the locker room at halftime. I said, they what? And he goes, you don't want me to tell you what the final score was. What happened in that game? That it was 23, I think I saw on X, missed field goals
in a row. They went the equivalent of a full quarter, more than 12 minutes of playing time, of game time, without making a shot. All right. And you say, how does that possibly happen when you miss 23 shots in a row? It was 45 minutes of real time, Kelly, between one Orlando make and the next Orlando make. And I don't mean to laugh. Obviously, you had the Magic ticket. That was no fun at all, especially one that looked so good and went so bad. What happened? Threefold. All right. The Pistons A game defensively is pretty good. And we saw that last night. B, the issues that Orlando has had all year, the reason why they underachieved to their win total as badly all year is because they've had all these, these offensive issues and the ball gets stuck and they don't take good shots. And the key to the whole thing has been Wagner. When Wagner's in, the offense works. Wagner's not there. The offense didn't work. So the issues with the full season numbers. So Detroit's defense, Orlando's full season. And the third thing you got to point at, there was lots of buzz about Jamal Mosley coming into the season and how the players weren't impressed with Jamal Mosley. And when you go 45 minutes of real time, when you go 23 shots without making one, when you go 12 minutes of NBA court time without making a bucket, only one guy I'm pointing that finger at, and that's your coach. That's your coach saying, let's call timeout. Let's calm down. Let's design a play. Let's get the ball down low. Let's get the free throw line. There's 100 things you can do to generate a bucket at home in a closeout game. And Orlando didn't do any of them. So, it was one of the, in terms of crazy results, it feels like the first round was a little bit drunk in the NBA playoffs. And last night was certainly a drunk result.
I guess here's my question. And this is a very situational question. Obviously, it's not rooted in basic math, but how do you come back from that? Right? Like when I woke up this morning, I said 19 second half points, like you gutless expletives. I don't know how you come back from that. Yes, they're professional athletes. At any point in time, we know that they could catch a lot of fire and be able to beat this Pistons team. But it sure looks like they just cashed it in that second half, just looking at it on paper.
So when you think about the mental result, because what does it take to win these games on the road? What's it going to take for Philly to win today in Boston? And it's not like people are like, just take home teams and unders. If you did that for 20 years ago, it paid. If you've done that for the last 20 years, just taking home teams and unders in game 7, it's not quite as profitable as it's once been. It's much closer to 50-50. But when you think about what it takes for any team to win a game 7 on the road, it takes mental toughness. And what have we not seen from Orlando this year?
Very.
Detroit has been the tougher team. They've been the tougher team all year, and they certainly showed it last night. So I'm in no rush to take Orlando plus the points tomorrow.
All right, let's talk about the third game 7. This was actually one that makes sense, right? These were two teams that were fairly evenly matched. Prez mentioned last night with the Raptors. I was on the Raptors plus 3.5. I guess I'll take it and just be happy considering they didn't do what the Magic did. Just was one of those results where I was frustrated that they even went to overtime. And when you're holding that dog ticket in overtime, you're going, why couldn't you guys just lose on a last second bucket? Anyway, we got out of there. But now Toronto has to go back to Cleveland, a place where they have not fared well. And they're a pretty sizable underdog here. Let me open up the odds logic screen. Looks like 7.5 here in Florida at the Hard Rock and in DraftKings. Everywhere else is 8s. And we've even got some 8.5s at some prominent offshore books. Give me your thoughts on this other game 7, Teddy.
Yeah, and this really is a split line right now. You don't know what's going to be this way tomorrow, but one of the beauties of the Odds Logic live odds screen is you go, oh, I'm gonna go bet this at MGM right now at 7.5, or oh, I'm gonna go to Circa and get a plus 8.5. You know, right now, both lines available, and you say, oh, I'm gonna buy a half point. Don't ever buy half points when you get them for free. And the Odds Logic live odds screen helps you do that. And here you get a full point for free just by, oh, I'm not going to bet at this book. I'm going to bet at that book. oddslogic.com/Teddy for that free 7-day trial. You've got a promo for that as well, Kelly. You can give Kelly the promo for the, what's it, oddslogic.com /
Kelly in Vegas.
Yeah. Oh, you have to type all that out? Kelly in Vegas?
I know. I should have done
Use mine then. Oddslogic.com / TC. It's just shorter, you know, but it's fine. Either one will get you a free 7-day trial. But there is variance on this ballgame. Now, the Cavs have been the bane of my existence in this. I've had them 3 times in Toronto, and they lost all 3 games straight up. And I felt like they should have won all 3 games straight up. Last night to me was Cleveland's season. All right, in the sense of they're supposed to win that game and close out against an inferior team that's missing key players, and if they can't, that tells us what the Cavs ceiling is. Because there's been questions. You know, when we look at that team with the 2 bigs, with the 2 superstars in the backcourt, with the depth that they have, with the Kenny Atkinson, and you say, man, they didn't just underachieve in the regular season; they've underachieved here in the postseason as well. Because they have. I mean, Cleveland's A game is Eastern Conference Finals / Finals, and now they're life and death to get out of the first round, and they have to play 7. And that's not the way to go on an extended run in the NBA postseason. It just isn't. So the Cavs have underachieved significantly. Toronto's got plenty of confidence, but I've been wrong in this series, Kel. I've been nothing but wrong. 3 times.
Does that mean you're just like not a do not bet list, so to speak, but hey, you know what? Wrong read. We're staying off this. Is that usually how you approach these types of games? In a series, I'm willing to lose more than once with the same. When I lose 3 times with the same freaking team. Yeah.
Toronto's just covered 4 in a row in the series. All right. Toronto's not the better team. I expect Cleveland to win the game. Cleveland's A game is significantly better than Toronto's A game. So you're supposed to take Cleveland here. I've been burned by that team pretty hard, and they have not. The value in the series has all been on the Toronto side. Cleveland has not lived up to the expectations that the markets had for them, that I had for them.
All right. Well, I got Marco D'Angelo waiting the wings, but I do want to touch on these next 2 series really quick. So we're going to go late on the show today. I'm going to work overtime just for you guys and break my own 40-minute rule here. So if you guys have a question for Marco D'Angelo for the Kentucky Derby, drop it in the chat. And we're going to go through all of those. Marco and I are going to go through the scratches and so forth. But Teddy and I want to talk about these 2 new series. I asked you before and I jumped the gun because what do we need to be looking at for the second round series? Is there something like those first round unders that you mentioned that is something that has historically been a really great bet in these second round series?
So home courts mean less and less as the postseason progresses. So when you talk about home court edge and, they're coming back home for game 3 or any of that, in general, the reality of, the weakest teams are out now. And every team that remains the team that can win on the highway. We saw, obviously, the Lakers do it last night. But the markets are telling us that both of these series are mismatches. All right. And, we've got a Lakers team that's banged up, and we have a T-Wolves team that's banged up, and we have opposing them the 2 best teams in the NBA all season long in Oklahoma City and San Antonio. So we've got both teams laying double digits at home. We've got both series. I'm seeing minus 1,500, minus 1,600 for the Thunder against the Lakers, and a comparable number for the Spurs against the T-Wolves. And those are first round playoff numbers. It's not what we're used to seeing in the second round. So the markets are telling us to expect a Spurs Thunder Western Conference Finals. And if you have to ask me, I'll take under 5.5 games in both series.
Yeah, that's kind of what we expected. Those are 2 of the best, well, probably arguably the 2 best teams in the NBA. Unfortunately, they have to play each other in the Western Conference Finals. Teddy, you and I do some emergency betting alerts on the opening line report. Any of these things like, hey, guys, you might want to get ahead Monday, Tuesdays, series prices, as you mentioned, are a little steep. Double-digit favorites in the NBA, not really my cup of tea. Anything from the totals perspective, maybe anyone needs to know, or should they wait and find out on Teddy's tips?
Yeah, so Teddy's tips, we're doing that every day in the regular season. Here in the postseason, I'm doing free play videos. Every day I have a free play video up on my homepage at WagerTalk.com, w.buzz/TC. Or obviously, if you subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel, you see them every day. So the Teddy's Tip Show, we'll do it again come next NBA season, but we're not doing it here in the playoffs. Just when there's only 1 or 2 games to do, it's better to do a free pick video than a Teddy's Tips video. When it comes to the look ahead and emergency betting alerts, when we talk about NFL on a Sunday night into Monday morning, you get a real good sense of where the markets are going to move and what teams are going to attract betting attention and what teams aren't. When it comes to an NBA playoff series right now with 2 double-digit favorites in the West, there's nothing going on I must bet this now, side-wise, total-wise, Minnesota, San Antonio, nothing for game 1, nothing for the series. We haven't seen a whole lot of money come in on that series yet. Same story with the Lakers and Thunder. Obviously, that number just came up this morning. But I'd say if you want a 15.5, 16 for OKC, there's probably going to be some Lakers money coming on at that. So if you want the 16, maybe you grab with the Lakers right now. That'd be the one that I would say that there could be some urgency with. If you want plus 16 with the Lakers, do it sooner rather than later. But
all right,
the Lakers had a rough time against OKC this season.
Woo-hoo! It's gonna be a really interesting series for both of the teams that I mentioned should be possibly playing for the NBA Finals, that will be playing for the Western Conference Finals. Teddy, anything else you would like to leave our audience with before we get into the Run of the Roses? Is that what it's called? I always screw up the moniker.
The Run for the Roses.
Run for the Roses.
Yeah. So first, Marco's wearing a hat. That's all we need to know. Second, so the baseball's been hot. The baseball's been hot since last September, and all this year's been hot. So I understand it's a bit early in the season for the degenerates to truly get involved in MLB, but we're making money right now. So check it out, wt.buzz/TC.
Love it. Thank you, Teddy Covers. And we'll probably see you next week for some more NBA talk. All right, guys, as I mentioned, it's Kentucky Derby day. So we got Marco D'Angelo. I'm going to bring him right in right now, just right now, because we got to get into it, Marco. I was planning on being out of here in 3 minutes, but there's just too much to talk about. It's just one of those sports days. I wanted to hear from VR from behind his computer screen. I wanted to talk NHL. We got game 7s in the NBA and NHL. And of course, we've got the Kentucky Derby tonight. Lots to break down. Guys, if you have a question for Marco, we can get into it. People already want to know what your superfecta. We'll talk all the exotics. Marco, you and I did a video, and you said, hey, Chief Wallaby. And I said, oh, boy, okay, this is interesting. He's gotten a little trendy. Does that ever make you nervous? Like, you're one of the first guys that I saw to give him out, and now it seems like everybody likes Chief Wallaby.
Yeah, well, maybe everybody's watching those videos we did, Kelly. The one video did, I think we're at 100,000, somewhere right around there. So maybe I should keep my mouth shut and protect my odds.
Wait. Maybe we should wait, because now it seems like everybody loves him. One of the things that I was told to do, I thought was really interesting. Instead of betting into the pool, you can bet the odds on certain sports books. Chief Wallaby down to plus 550. I think he was high as 8-1 at one point in time to win. So something to keep in mind there. Maybe if you want a little off market, kind of look in the back end of some of your sports betting accounts and see if there's anything over there. Of course, if you want to bet the exotics, I got to fund my TVG account. My dad's already texting me. Brett's brother's texting me. Brett's brother's, like saying, hey, can you bet these things for me? I'm like, you guys can also bet on TVG. It's really not that hard to do. So I'm going to get onto that. I want all of the action. I'm going to do what I do to VR, and I'm just going to let you talk, because you are such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to not only the Kentucky Derby, but horse racing as a whole. So if we get questions from the audience, I'm going to start popping them up on the screen. Who's the horse that's moved the most, Marco, so far that you were maybe surprised about getting a ton of money in the marketplace that you said, hey, whoa, maybe this horse is now getting to be a little too popular?
Yeah, and the horse that's moved, and the reason it's moved, I think, is the backstory that goes with the horse, and that is So Happy. So Happy is a horse that it's a good story. Mark Glant is the trainer of the horse. Unfortunately, earlier this year, his wife passed away. She was a big part of his operation and was there race day all the time in the winter circles and stuff. That horse morning line was 15-1. It is down to 5-1. If you go back and watch the Santa Anita Derby, where So Happy won, if you watch that race and watch the horse that finished second, if you like So Happy at that price, why not take a look at Potente, who is the number 14 horse, at higher odds? You can get Potente right now at like 23-1 or 21-1 currently. And if you watch the race, Potente did all the heavy lifting. That was a horse that was on the front end in that race, battled another horse the entire race. They went at each other throat to throat, basically. And Potente put that horse away halfway down the stretch. And then here comes So Happy coming off their backs. And that happens so often in horse racing, where two horses battle in front of you. The one horse puts the other one away, but then doesn't have enough to hold off the other one. I think if he gets a better trip, Potente can turn the tables on So Happy, and one's at 21-1, and the other one's at 5-1. Kelly, you know about Plus EV and where the value is in those two horses.
Marco, I actually just dropped your free horse racing guide in the comment section, if you guys want to check that out. Also, Marco and I did a Kentucky Derby preview video with Sean Alvarez. Still plenty of time to watch that, as well as Marco's standalone video he did himself. Marco, this is something we talked about on said video, and now it's coming to fruition. The scratches, the dreaded scratches, and that's no fun. Our friend Sean Alvarez had the Puma this morning, and he said, not the news I wanted to wake up to this morning. But I'm happy because the horse I like, Further Ado, is moving further away from that dreaded 17 spot. Now, the horse that is in that spot, I had it pulled up here on my lovely X. I got too many things going on here, Marco. I need more screens on my computer. I need more screens. Who is now the 17 horse?
The 17 horse, they moved in two more spots now, and that would have been two out from your horse, Further Ado. So Further Ado is the 18. That's going to inherit now. Golden Tempo is going to take this 17.
And that is a horse that just got added to the field, correct?
Or no, Great White. Great White.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's talk about the horses that got added to the field, because it was a situation where I said, you've got to look at if horses get in and what type of horses get in and how that changes the race. If a horse moves into the race and it's a closer, it has absolutely no impact on the race at all, because that horse is going to go to the back of the pack and not be, any part of the early fractions, not going to be in the traffic because it's going to be at the back of the pack. But if it's speed horses that draw in, it changes the race dramatically, because when they draw in, they don't go to the post position of the horse that got scratched. They move into the outside starting gate. And the horses keep their saddle pad numbers for betting purposes, but they go to the outside gate, which, if it's a full field, it would have been post 20. And they have to leave from there, horses that got gate speed. And that produces a faster first quarter and a faster first half. And if you've got a closer in the race that you like and you want to bet, those speed horses that drew in just increased your chances. And we had not one, but two speed horses draw in. Great White moved in. That horse is going to leave the gate. And another one, it's going to be a jackrabbit out of the gate, Robusto. That horse, the only races one way, will go as far as it can go on the lead, and then, it'll back through the field. But that's going to help all of the other closers. I think it also helps Renegade. We've talked about the post position number one, and you want to talk about, people with, the dreaded post. Well, number one, we haven't had a horse win, I think, since 1990. Was it 96 or 86? Ferdinand was the horse. And because you get buried at the rail. But when you get a faster pace, faster first half, that actually will benefit a horse that has post one. And why? Because if they're going faster, the field's going to be more spread out. They're not going to be all bunched up. So there'll be more holes for Irad Ortiz to try to bob and weave through. Think about when you're on the freeway, Kelly. If you've got a ton of traffic and everybody's going about 50, 55 miles an hour, it's hard to find that opening to jump back and forth through lanes. But if everybody's rolling on the freeway, the same amount of traffic, but everybody's going 70, it's easier to find those holes to bob and weave through. And that's going to benefit Renegade a fast first half in this race. Plus, when those horses start stopping on the front end, it's going to be easier to pass them because they're going to be coming back. So I think Irad, it helps his chances at the rail. We've seen he's still I call it the lukewarm favorite. When you've got the favorite of the Kentucky Derby and you're sitting at 5-1, that is a very good betting board. And that's what we like to see as bettors, because it means that the public can't make up their mind, and that it gives more money for us to be made betting the race.
All right, Marco, let's answer some more of these questions here. This is a simple Google search, Doomsday VE, but I do want to talk about it because it is important. We've seen sloppy track conditions. We've seen dry track conditions, and each horse is going to race differently based on that. Talk to me about the weather today at Churchill Downs and who you actually think's maybe going to benefit the most from it.
Well, Kelly, there's really no benefit to anybody when it's a good racetrack, because that's what all these horses race on most of the time. They will have off tracks now and then, but when you have young horses like 3-year-olds in the Kentucky Derby, if they come up on a sloppy track and it's not one of the major stake races, generally they might hold the horse out, and not race the horse on, a sloppy track. So having it on a fast track is pretty much equal to everybody. Now, when you do get a sloppy track, there's horses that would benefit from that because they've had experience on it already, if they have. And that's something that you look at in the racing form, because they'll always show you the horse's lines. They'll show you what they've done on dirt. They'll show you what they've done on dirt surfaces or synthetic surfaces, but they also list if they raced on a wet track. So that's how you can try to identify, who's a mutter when that happens. But we got good weather today, so that's not a factor to look at.
I do love good weather. I've also heard it's going to be one of the colder Kentucky Derbies in a while, but it doesn't look like cold, just like you're not going to be sweating your ass off there in a sport coat. Marco, everybody wants us to say, give us a winner. Of course, we all want the winners, and that's why Marco's here. Here's a good question. This is one thing we did not talk about on our Derby video. The Japanese horses are all the buzz. Talk to me about your thoughts on some of these horses that are now entering the race internationally. We've seen it before from maybe Saudi Arabia and so forth. Talk to me about Japanese horses or any other international horses you think have a chance to hit the board.
Well, because of the success of Forever Young, 2 years ago, almost won the Derby, lost, by a nose, and then comes back and this year wins the Breeders' Cup Classic. So now everybody's intrigued with the Japanese horses. You want to talk about, streaks? There hasn't been a Japanese horse win the Kentucky Derby. And honestly, until Forever Young, there really hasn't been anybody even make any noise in the Derby in recent years. They are getting better. There's one of the Japanese horses that if I used and I did on some of my larger tickets, just, run underneath, maybe to hit the board third, is Dan and Bourbon. I know, Kelly, that would, since you can't have your right to party anymore in this race, that horse got scratched. You'll have to switch to Bourbon if you want to have some cocktails. But this horse has, the only one that has a chance. And I can tell you that he's a Japanese horse, but he is actually an American bred horse. Horse is bred by a really good sire here in the U.S., Maxfield, who was a very good racehorse and out of a Tappet mare. You can't get much better breeding than that. And that's why the horse at the Keeneland sale is a yearling, brought $450,000. So that's the only one I think that has a chance. But the problem with it is you just don't know what the competition was over there. Kelly, we use the phrase in sports betting all the time when we're handicapping games, strength of schedule. When somebody beats up on, a bunch of, cupcakes, how much stock do you really put in those wins? And that's what my concern is with Dan and Bourbon. And unlike some of the other Japanese horses that have come over here before, they race the opposite way in Japan most of the time. Now, some of those horses have gone to Saudi Arabia and raced where they do go the right way. So they've got that under their belt. This is a horse that's got to travel halfway across the world, and is going to, for the first time, go the other direction. So there's a lot of variables. Not going to get my money on the top end, but I have maybe to chunk up a trifecta or a superfecta on the bottom end.
All right, Marco. People want to buy your Derby package, right? Their first-time buyers have been absolutely clamoring to get that. Talk to me about what you got going on WagerTalk.com. Talk to me about, if I wanted to buy your package, what I'm going to get for today.
Okay, we've got a deal. If you've never bought anything from WagerTalk, and that's where been a little bit of confusion, this coupon is first-time buyers at WagerTalk, Derby 2. You use that, I'll give you my $39 Kentucky Derby package today for $2. That's a $2 win ticket. Okay, that's a no-brainer if you've never bought from WagerTalk. Head on over, put my package in your shopping cart, and enter coupon code Derby10. It'll take $37 off and cost you just $2. If you have already bought something from WagerTalk, I got something for you too. Use coupon code Derby10. And by the way, that coupon code would also work the Derby 10 on Sean Alvarez's package today if you're interested in grabbing Sean's plays. That'll get you $10 off that package. Now, with me, what you're going to get is obviously my full Derby plays for the big race, the Kentucky Derby. I break down my top 4 horses. I give you my first, second, and third horse and my long shot horse with a paragraph right up on each, why we like those particular horses. And then I give you all my betting strategies for the Derby. In addition to that, you're going to get all of my sports plays today. Oh, by the way, how are we doing this week? Well, how about the last 3 days? We've gone 6-1 with our sports plays on top of the horse plays you're going to get today. I will have a few other races on the Kentucky Derby card. I'll be adding those shortly once I get off the air here with you guys here live. So you'll get action all day at Churchill Downs, and you'll have probably 2 or 3. I already have 2 sports plays in there. I'm looking at one more possibly today with the sports package. So great way to go. But Kelly, if you want to even go longer term than that, we've got a deal going. You can get 3 days for $49. So if you were going to buy my $39 package, don't buy a 3-day package for $49 and get everything that I've got for 3 days.
Awesome stuff from Marco. As always, guys, again, if you have a question for him, drop it in the chat. Marco, everybody was asking about some of the exotics. And again, I know you've got a package for sale up on WagerTalk, but we've got almost 4,000 people watching with us live just to get some of that information from you. So please let me know what we're thinking here. And correct me for my ignorance, because we know I bet horse racing whenever I'm at the track. Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont. And every once in a while, if you've got a good horse in the Breeders' Cup, you're like, Kelly, you got to bet this horse. And of course, when we had harness horses. That being said, I'd like to throw in a couple exacta boxes, a couple trifecta boxes, superfecta boxes. Can you kind of let everybody know, like, from a bankroll standpoint, like, okay, I'm going to set this much aside. Let's say today I'm going to set $500 aside to bet the Kentucky Derby. Okay. How should I break down that $500 from a perspective of bankroll management, right? Like I definitely want to have some action on the win place shows. I definitely want some exotics. Kind of let everybody know how you would approach that $500 bankroll for today.
Okay, first off, the win, place, and show is definitely what you want to do, especially when you've got a card like today where the betting is pretty much spread all over the place. So you're going to get, even if you don't have the winner, but you cash a place and show ticket, you're going to get decent money, Kelly. The Kentucky Derby is the only race that I'll bet 2 horses win, place, and show. I'll bet my top choice and I'll bet my long shot horse because you're getting good odds. So I'll put probably, if we're going with a $500 bankroll, I'll set aside maybe $100 of that bankroll for those 2 types of wagers, my win, place, and shows. Then for me, because I want to get big money, and the Kentucky Derby is when you get inflated prices because there's dead money in the betting pools. And what people have to understand about horse racing versus sports betting, you're not betting against the book. We're not us against the Westgate or us against Circa. You're betting against everybody else that's betting the Kentucky Derby. All that money goes into one pool, okay? The casinos, sports books, racetracks, they get a flat percentage. It's a hold or a rake, like a rake in a poker tournament. That comes off the top. But the rest of that money in that pool is then divided up among the winning tickets. Okay. When you've got people, and I don't want to sound egotistical here, but when I'm betting the Kentucky Derby, I am smarter than at least minimum 90% of the people that are going to be betting today. Okay. I've got a tremendous edge, I feel, against those people betting the markets and making bets. So their money is dead money. And that's increases the odds for me. Something that, I think the average trifecta has paid over $500 the last several, years. And if you go back, we had 2017, seems like eons ago, but I'll never forget. It was one of my best Kentucky Derby scores. We invested $390 that day, and we brought back over $9,000 for our wagers, because that's what the Kentucky Derby can produce with the right combinations of horses. So I'll spread the rest of that $350 to $400 bankroll in exactas, trifectas. You can play daily doubles. A daily double is you have to play the daily double in the race before, because you're picking the winner of 2 races that go back to back. And well, there is a race after the Kentucky Derby today, but the better races are the ones before it. So you could play a Kentucky Derby 11th and 12th race, a daily double with the Derby, and you can also play the 12th and 13th race. So it's another way. If you like 2 or 3 horses, you can go different directions. Exacta box is a great way to go. Okay, pick 4 horses, make an exacta box for $2. It costs you $24. And you just have to have 2 of those 4 horses finish first or second, and you're going to get yourself an exacta. And I don't care what the combination is. Even if you took the 4 favorites, the 4 lowest odds today, Kelly, and that's the exacta that comes in, it's going to pay more than $24. Trust me, because of the inflated pool. And if you throw a long shot in there and it runs on your ticket, you're going to make some money. But then if the bigger the ticket you make, you go to a trifecta, that's picking first, second, and third. The harder the ticket is, the bigger the payout's going to be. So you can do a 4-horse $1 trifecta box where you got to cash 3 of those 4, cost you $12, and you would get a $1 trifecta ticket. You could hit trifecta that way as well.
All right, Marco, I know we're running a little over, but I did just retweet the show, and we've almost got 5,000 people watching now. So I'm waiting to see if there's anybody else that has a question regarding the Kentucky Derby. So before we get to that, definitely let me know, okay, again, we've got videos on WagerTalk. You guys can go watch them. Marco loves Chief Wallaby. We brought that up earlier in the show because everybody now loves Chief Wallaby. Definitely give me your best. Give me a trifecta box just for all these people waiting for today. I know you're selling it.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we got a lot of other stuff in the package. So
I know you do, but I want
my top 4 horses today. Chief Wallaby. We've got Further Ado, because of the scratch with the Puma. I did have the Puma as my 3rd choice. That moved Commandment into the 3rd spot, and my long shot horse is Emerging Market. And on the show, I did give another long shot on bet on it. I did use that horse in exactas as well. And that was the 14 Potente, which we already talked about on the show, the value on him versus So Happy. So I just gave you 5 horses to play around with there.
That's crazy. I didn't expect all that. I do know that Sean Alvarez, who is in the chat right now, also liked Emerging Market. He gave him out on our Derby preview video as well.
Which, Kelly, quick note on Emerging Market. There's only been one horse ever win that's only made 2 starts coming into the Kentucky Derby. Yesterday, the same trainer, Chad Brown, had a horse in the Kentucky Oaks making only its 3rd start. So come into the Kentucky Oaks with just 2 starts and won that race. And by the way, I ran second in that race with my pick, but we made money in the race because we hit the exacta, we hit the trifecta, or not the trifecta, but across the board. It paid very well across the board. A $20, we ran second, a $20 ticket across the board brought back a $60 investment, 120 something, and we didn't win the race. We finished second. So that's how you can make money in these inflated pools. The Kentucky Derby is like betting the Super Bowl. People that never bet.
6:57 p.m. is the post time for the Kentucky Derby, but races start, Marco.
They're already started, Kelly. You're costing me money.
All right,
you're costing me money here.
Shout out to all of you guys watching. I wanted to hit 5,000. We were so close. We were so close. We were so close. All right, guys, again, over here on Wager Talk, go to the download section. You can get our Kentucky Derby guide, using coupon code Derby2. If you're looking to get on board with Marco, Derby 10. If you're like, you know what, I want all Sean selections, all Marco selections, you can just get both over there as well using those coupon codes. Shout out to Marco D'Angelo for giving us at least 30 minutes of his time today to talk about the Derby. Plenty more to come over the next few weeks as we've got the Preakness as well as the Belmont. Marco, Sean, and I will be doing some breakdown videos of that as well. Again, thank you for all of you guys for hanging out with us here on this beautiful Saturday morning. Good luck. Cash some tickets today, especially in the Derby, and we'll see you guys next week.